Juliet, is it true that you're not going to visit us during the upcoming break?
Sabrina, it's good to hear from you. I'm sorry, but I don't think we'll be able to make the trip to visit your family this time. You know that your brother was relocated out of state for his job, and he said that he won't even be able to make it back home. I know that we always visit you and your parents during this long weekend each year, so I'm really sorry that we won't be able to see you.
Yes, my brother also called to let me know that. It's too bad, but work is work. But if it's not too much of a hassle, why don't you and Mona come stay with us for a few days without my brother? My parents and I would be more than happy to have you.
I'm really grateful for your offer, but we wouldn't want to impose on your family. Mona can be quite a handful these days, so I don't want to trouble your family. And I'm sure that your parents would prefer that we visit when my husband is also around as well.
It's no trouble at all. It's fine that my brother won't be able to join you guys this time. My parents were really looking forward to seeing you and Mona, so I'm sure that they'll be more disappointed if you didn't visit. And I totally agree with them as well. You don't need to feel bad at all.
Really? Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure.
Then maybe we should have gone to see you like every year, even if my husband wasn't going to be around.
Well, there's still a few days left since it's a 4-day weekend, and we don't have anything else planned since we were expecting you guys to visit. Why don't you still come over and spend the remaining 2 to 3 days here? I'll let my parents know about the change in plans too. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to have you here.
Actually, that's okay. Don't get me wrong, I'm really happy about your invitation, but it's because of Mona. She hasn't been feeling that well lately. I don't know what it is, but I think that she just needs some downtime. And I thought that it'd be a good idea to just stay home during this long weekend so that she can rest. Since Derek needs to catch up on work and won't even be coming home, this would be the perfect opportunity for us to have a quiet weekend at home.
I'm sorry to hear about Mona. Is she okay?
Yeah, she probably has just a little bug. I'm sure that she'll feel better after a few nights' rest. It's nothing to worry so much about.
Well, I hope you're right and that she feels better soon. I was really looking forward to seeing her during this break, so I'm sad that we'll have to miss each other this time.
I know. You're always so nice to Mona, and she absolutely adores you. She always says that she wishes you were her older sister. I'm sure she'll be really disappointed about not being able to see you as well.
She's definitely the best niece ever. I don't know if I've ever told you, but I absolutely love children. So I hope you can imagine how happy it makes me that I get to spoil such a cutie pie like Mona.
That's so nice of you. But surely you want to have children of your own soon, right? If I remember correctly, you're almost 23. Have you not yet thought about getting married yourself?
A lot of my friends are starting to get married or are planning to get married soon. I have a few friends who got married right after college, too. But I've been working really hard to build my career until now, and it's finally starting to pay off, so I don't want to get sidetracked. And I guess you can say that getting married isn't one of my top priorities right now.
You're just like your brother in the way you're completely devoted to your work. He's always so busy with work that he hardly has time to come home on the weekends ever since he was relocated out of state. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing either, because I know that both you and my husband are very hardworking. And sometimes I even feel relieved when he calls to say that he won't be coming home, since some things are just easier when it's just me and Mona. He just acts like a big man-child when he does come home. Like he'll start sulking when he doesn't get what he wants, like he's some spoiled brat. Even Mona doesn't act like that. Anyway, so I guess I got lucky that he's too busy to come home for the long weekend this time. It'll give me and Mona more time to do what we want.
I hope you don't say any of that to my brother's face. He'll be so shocked to learn that you feel that way about him. He works as hard as he does so that he can provide a comfortable life for you and Mona. So it's not like he's choosing his job over his family.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that his work is a convenient excuse for both of us. You won't tell him what I said there, right? Let's just keep all of that between the two of us.
Sure, no problem. Oh, wait. I'm actually actually pretty free during the long weekend now since you won't be coming over anymore. Would it be too much trouble if I visit you instead? I'd like to see Mona if she's up for the visit. I can bring her some treats and toys so that she feels better soon. I can even watch Mona for a few hours so that you can get out of the house for a while. I'm sure you want some time to yourself too, right?
You want to visit us here?
Well, yeah, you said that Mona hasn't been feeling well, so I can't exactly invite you here or have you make the trip out. Maybe I can buy her some new toys that'll keep her occupied since she'll be staying at home the entire weekend. And I'll bring over some DVDs as well so we can do movie day if she wants. Make some popcorn in the microwave and eat a bunch of candy as well.
It'll be nice to have some time to myself, and I appreciate your offer. But I bet you just want to hug Mona all to yourself and spend the day with her. It's obvious how much you really adore her.
You know me too well. I mean, she's such an angel, and I want to spend as much time with her as I can. And ever since my brother got transferred to his new office, we haven't been able to see you as often. I know that it's harder to make the trip here without him, but I miss seeing you guys. And since Mona isn't feeling well these days, I'm just more worried than anything.
Like I said, I'm very grateful for your offer, but we're fine. She needs to rest, so I think we'll just spend a quiet few days at home. You know how much she loves spending time with you, and I don't want her to get overexcited about you visiting. But more importantly, I don't want you to catch whatever bug she has in case it's infectious.
You're right. It's too bad, but I guess that would be the best for Mona's health right now. Well, in that case, can I at least bring over a care package for Mona then? I'll just hand it to you at the front door so I won't even go inside.
That's so thoughtful of you, but would you please save it until the next time we see each other? I'm sure that Mona will be happier if she receives it from you directly. She's really so lucky to have such a caring aunt. I'm only doing what I think is best for her right now. You understand that, right? So, this conversation is finished, okay? I'm gonna make some chicken noodle soup for Mona now, so I'll talk to you again soon. And I promise that we'll plan a visit as soon as she feels better, or you can come visit us then.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. I'm sorry for being so pushy. Please let Mona know that I hope she gets well soon and that I'm looking forward to seeing her soon.
Of course. Anyways, we'll talk again soon. Bye now.
Sabrina, what the heck is going on? Where are you right now? Kimberly, what a surprise to hear from you. I haven't heard from you since we graduated high school. How have you been? Is something going on that you're getting in touch so out of the blue? Yes, there's something going on. Why else would I be contacting you after all these years? Didn't you hear my first questions? I asked you where you are right now. Geez, there's no need to bite my head off like that. I'm back at my parents' house since I'm spending the long weekend here. So now it's your turn to answer my question. What's going on? Are you in a bad mood or something? Because it sounds like you're taking your anger out on me. Of course I'm in a bad mood. In fact, I haven't been this mad in a really long time. Don't tell me that they haven't called you yet. What do you mean? You're the first person who's been in touch with me today. I'm sorry, but I don't understand what you're talking about. Your daughter was just brought into my hospital. She was so weak she could hardly hold herself up. She was on the verge of collapsing. Wait, seriously? Stop joking around, okay? I really don't know what you're talking about. Don't you dare try to play dumb. A little girl's well-being is on the line here. I can't believe that you haven't been feeding her. I'm absolutely disgusted by the way you've been treating her. How could you do such a terrible thing to your own child? And to think that we were actually friends back in high school. I never imagined that you'd turn out to be this way. I completely misjudged you as a person. What do you mean? I don't have any kids. Huh? What are you talking about? Are you serious? I'm as serious as I can be because I'm not even married. Besides, if I were to get married or have kids, I'd definitely let you know. But that wasn't the explanation your sister-in-law gave us in the hospital. She said that she was watching your daughter for you at her house. What? That's what she said.
Did she come to the hospital with a little girl?
Your sister-in-law was the one who called the ambulance. That's why she came to the hospital with the paramedics.
I see. By the way, I didn't even realize that you and my sister-in-law were acquainted with one another.
We're not friends or anything, but you know how she and your brother were high school sweethearts. And we used to hang out at your house pretty often back then, so I've met her a few times before. I recognized her when she came into the emergency room, so I went to talk to her. And it turns out that she also remembered me from back then as well. She then told me that the little girl that was brought in was your daughter.
I can't believe that she would do such a thing. Can I ask you one thing, though? What was the little girl's name that Juliet claimed was my daughter?
I think that it was something like Mona. I wasn't the one tending to her, so I didn't get a good look at her chart, but I think that's what I heard the other nurses calling her.
Mona. I see. That's my brother's daughter's name.
Your brother's daughter. So that means she's your sister-in-law's actual daughter. Then why did she lie to me and say that she was your daughter? I really don't see any point in that.
You said that Mona was so weak from malnourishment when she was brought in, right? Like she wasn't being fed properly?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because of the condition that Mona was in, she realized that things could get pretty bad if I found out that Mona was her actual daughter. That's why she lied and said that you were the mother. What's wrong with her? I can't believe that she would do that to her own daughter and deny all responsibility for it.
She knows that you and I haven't seen each other since we graduated high school, so I guess that she just said that to keep herself out of trouble. She probably didn't expect you to get in touch with me like this, so perhaps she thought that lying to you would be the easiest way out of that situation. That's enough about Juliet. I'm more concerned about Mona right now. How is she? Is she still in the hospital?
No, unfortunately. She started feeling much better after getting an IV, so she was discharged pretty quickly. If I'd known all of this beforehand, I would have kept her in the hospital longer.
You had no reason not to believe what my sister-in-law told you, so don't blame yourself. But I have an idea, and I was hoping that you'd help me with a few things to carry it out. I want to get Mona away from Juliet's hands, and the sooner the better.
Of course. It's the least I can do. After everything you've told me, I already feel like I'm too involved to not do anything about this. Just tell me what you need me to do.
The first thing is to get Mona as far away from Juliet as possible. I just don't think that it'll be such an easy task, though. But I can't let anything else happen to Mona. What if Juliet does something even worse next time?
We can get the police involved, but that could possibly backfire because I'm sure Juliet is in quite a panic right now. She probably knows that I'll figure out her lie sooner or later. If she finds out that the authorities will be getting involved, she might end up harming Mona even worse. We can't risk that.
Exactly. So that's why I want you to help me get Mona without notifying the authorities. I'll let you know what I want to do as soon as I have everything figured out.
I'll speak to the charge nurse in the meantime and explain to her what's going on. I'll make sure that I can get out as soon as you need me.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate everything you're doing. I'll talk to you soon. Juliet, I'm sorry to bother you. Has my brother been in touch with you already? What do you mean? The last I heard from my husband was when he called to tell me that he won't be coming home for the long weekend. Is everything okay? Was there something I should know about?
Oh, perhaps he didn't have the chance to call you yet then.
Anyways, he said that he was able to finish up his work in the office, so he's decided to come home for the weekend. He said that he plans to be back by this evening. Really? Are you sure? He said that he was so swamped with work just a few days ago and that he wouldn't be able to come home for the long weekend. Well, he must have worked really hard to get everything finished then. He thought that you and Mona would miss him and felt bad about having to cancel your plans to visit here last minute. He said that he was able to wrap up whatever tasks that needed priority, but the rest of it could wait until after the weekend. That's great news, but I'm afraid the sudden change in plans might be a bit of an inconvenience.
What do you mean by that? Did you already have other plans?
Well, I wasn't expecting my husband to be back at all, so Mona and I are out right now. And we also have plans until the evening as well. We're taking a day trip to a state park, so we probably won't be home until much later. Did my husband say around what time he'll be getting home?
He called me right before he boarded his flight, so I think he should be landing in about 1 or 2 hours. Oh, and he mentioned that he wanted you and Mona to meet him at our parents' house as well. He's gonna head straight here from the airport since it's closer than going back to his place first. And he wants you guys to join so that the whole family can get together like we do each year.
Wow, that's really a sudden change in plans. I wonder why he didn't call me directly to discuss everything first. I don't know. Like I said, Mona and I are already out for the day. But I guess if we turn around and head back now, we'll be able to make it home in time.
Derek is gonna head straight here from the airport. What'll you and Mona do?
I told you that Mona and I have already left our house for the day. And I'm more than happy to meet my husband there so that we can see you and your parents. But unfortunately, we're traveling by train today. And I just checked the timetable, and the next train won't be coming in for quite a while. It's a local train line, so I guess it doesn't run that often.
I see. So what do you want to do?
Well, I feel bad to have to keep everyone waiting until we get there. And actually, Mona's still feeling a bit under the weather. She hasn't made a full recovery yet. It would have been nice for all of us to get together, but I don't think that Mona and I will be joining today.
Oh, don't worry about making us wait. In fact, I'll pick you guys up so you won't have to wait for the train. And luckily, I'm with my friend right now and she has a car, so we can head right over there. Can you send me your current location?
Are you sure? I don't want to trouble your friend for our sake. You really don't have to do all that.
It's no trouble at all. Besides, I just want to see Mona as soon as possible, so I want to do all of this. So there's nothing that you need to concern yourself about since it's all in my own will.
Oh, it's so great that you're so doting when it comes to Mona. But like I said, she's still not completely well, so there's nothing that can be done about that, right? I think that it'll cause everyone more trouble if I bring her over there.
Well, the friend that I was talking about is actually a nurse. So you can rest assured that Mona will be in good hands as soon as we pick you up.
You're definitely right about that. I'm sure your friend is more knowledgeable about how to take care of a sick child than I am. But knowing my husband, he's gonna want to spend the night there, right? Unfortunately, Mona and I haven't packed anything since we were planning to be back home by the end of the day.
In that case, I can drop you off at your place first. There won't be any problem then, right?
Yes, I suppose you're right. Is it just me, or are you more pushy than usual? You've never tried to convince me to change my mind like this before. Is there something going on?
Of course not. I'm just excited that I'll get to see Mona after all. Anyway, since that's settled, I'll see you guys soon. We'll be on our way to pick you up right away, so just wait for us there, okay? Oh, just make sure that you send me your location right away.
Sabrina, I can't believe that you tricked me like that yesterday.
What do you mean that I tricked you? I went to pick you up just like I said, right? And Mona is staying here at my parents' house, so what seems to be the problem?
That's not what I'm talking about. You made up a whole story about your brother changing his mind about coming home this weekend just so you can take Mona away from me. I knew that something was going on. Especially since you wouldn't let it go that we wouldn't be visiting. As much as you wanted to spend time with Mona, I knew that you had a different motive for all this.
Don't say that I took her away from you. You make it seem like I did something bad. We all know that I did what I did only to protect Mona from an abusive caregiver. Don't try to downplay what you've done to her. Mona is the real victim here, and you need to understand the seriousness of this situation.
I see how it is. So I bet that you're the one who's behind everything that's happened since you took Mona. I don't know what you said to my husband, but he came home right afterwards and demanded that I explain everything to him. And not only that, he wants to get a divorce now. Were you the one who told him about Mona's condition?
Her condition? You mean she was malnourished and dehydrated since you weren't feeding her properly? And how you ended up calling the ambulance so she could be treated in the emergency room?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. How do you even know about all of that to begin with?
Oh, Juliet, who are you kidding? You're the one who told my friend yourself. Why did you even think that I wouldn't find out?
Oh, so you found out from that nurse Kimberly? I can't believe that she would disclose all that information to you. I thought that you guys haven't seen each other since high school. Why would she go through all the trouble of contacting you now?
Kim is the type of person that won't stand to let any kind of injustice go, especially when it concerns innocent young children. And you had the nerve to lie to her that Mona was my daughter? She wasn't going to keep quiet after learning that her high school friend was endangering her own child by not providing her with proper nutrition. So of course she contacted me right away to confront me about it. And that's when we both realized that you were trying to play us. So we decided to take matters into our own hands. But things didn't end up the way you planned because you never expected us to figure out your lie, right? It looks like you told your lies to the wrong people.
I guess I wasn't careful enough since I didn't think she'd actually get in touch with you. How could this be happening to me? This is all your fault.
You have some nerve trying to blame me for your behavior. Mona is still a preschooler, for goodness sake. How could you even consider starving her like that? How's she supposed to grow up into a healthy girl if she doesn't get all the nutrients that she needs right now?
It's not like I was starving her because I wanted to. She was acting like such a spoiled child, having tantrums over every little thing. I just wanted her to be quiet.
There's nothing wrong with having a tantrum from time to time, especially if she's tired or hungry. But not feeding her because she wouldn't be quiet? That kind of punishment is unforgivable. How can you even call yourself a mother? And you starved her to the point of fainting. You were the one who called the ambulance yourself, so you know exactly how weak she was by then.
But I didn't mean for things to get that bad. You have to understand that I had absolutely no intention of harming my own daughter. I just didn't realize that she was in such a bad state until it was too late. Besides, I only did it to discipline her. She needed to learn that she can't always get her way by throwing a tantrum. I was just trying to teach her that she needed to control her emotions. You may not agree with this method, but every household has their own way of disciplining their children, right? And it's not like I wasn't giving her any food. I gave her what I thought was sufficient so she wouldn't starve.
What you thought was enough for her was barely anything to keep her full. I helped her get bath last night, and let me just tell you that I was shocked beyond words. Not that she had any cuts or bruises on her body, thank goodness, but it's obvious that she's much too skinny for her age.
You can't just make assumptions about her weight. Some kids are just smaller than others and don't gain weight as easily. Don't say that just because you think she's too skinny by your standards.
You're right that I'm no professional or anything, but it's based on what I've seen compared to other kids her age. And just seeing the way her stomach caves in and how her ribs stick out, I just can't let that go without addressing it as a problem. It's to the point that you can't just dismiss it as an individual difference. You can't just ignore the fact that a preschooler actually fainted because they were so malnourished. Isn't that more than enough proof about how little she was being fed on a daily basis? I mean, how long was she not being provided with enough food for her to get to this condition?
You can't just put the entire blame on me. I was really desperate to do the best I can, all on my own. You have no idea how hard it's been since my husband was relocated. The entire burden of the house, the car, the chores, the childcare, it all falls on me. Imagine having to do all of that with no one to share the work with and having to put all of your own needs second to last. And as much as I love my daughter, it's not all fun and games when it's just the two of us day in and day out. Sometimes I just need some quiet time to myself so I can refresh my mind. But that'll be the exact moment she'll decide to have a meltdown, and it just gets too much to handle.
No one blames you for getting irritated. We all know how difficult it must be to handle everything on your own. But you should have called my brother or me or even your friends so you could vent about everything. Don't say that you have no one to rely on just because you didn't care to reach out to us. And if you had said something to anyone, we could have avoided this whole situation to begin with. But instead, you just decided to take your frustrations out on an innocent child. Which was a terribly poor decision, unfortunately, and one that cannot go unpunished. Why didn't you think to speak up? You should have had more than enough time to consider alternative solutions to your situation.
You can't possibly understand what I was going through. I'm a full-time mother, so it's my job to raise my daughter myself. If I'd asked for help, it would have been the same as admitting that I couldn't do my job. There's no way that I could embarrass myself like that.
Feeling embarrassed but still asking for help is nothing compared to putting your child's life on the line. That's just your ego getting in the way. How can you call yourself a mother if you've not been able to put your pride aside for your daughter?
It's not your place to tell me what I should do. You don't have any kids, so how could you possibly understand what I'm dealing with?
You're right that I don't understand what you're going through. But I was sitting right next to Mona at the dinner table as she was finishing her plate of food. There were tears streaming down her face as she devoured every last bit of her dinner. And she was so happy to be offered a second helping of everything.
And so what are you trying to say?
I've never seen such a young child be so thankful over something like a full plate of food. It breaks my heart just thinking about how deprived she must have been this whole time. And you were the one who drove her into this situation. How could I possibly acknowledge such a terrible person as a mother? I'll let you know off the bat that I refuse to. And just so you know, my brother and Mona also feel the same way about you. Why don't you think about what you've done for once?
What is there to think about? It won't change the fact that my husband still wants a divorce, right? There's no time to waste on wishful thinking. And it's all thanks to you.
Actually, you're wrong, because you'll have as much time as you need on your hands now. Especially since you'll be spending a long time in jail after all of this is resolved.
What? You're kidding, right? There's no way that I can go to jail. How am I ever going to survive in jail? That's where criminals go.
Oh, I'm sure that you'll see for yourself whether I'm kidding or not. This all shouldn't take too long to resolve anyways. And don't worry about surviving jail life. Unlike you, the correctional officers will feed you 3 full meals every day. The police arrived at my sister-in-law's house shortly after that, and they arrested her on the spot. My brother filed for divorce immediately and was successful in getting full custody of Mona. He was transferred back to the local office, and he moved back in with our parents so that Mona is able to live in a stable home. I also visit my parents more often than I used to, now that Mona lives there, and it makes me so happy that she seems to be getting bigger every time I see her. Despite the terrible treatment by her own mother, Juliet is the only mother that Mona knows. When she first moved into my parents' house, Mona had a hard time comprehending why her mother was not with them. But my brother, my parents, and I showered her with love and praise every day, so it didn't take long for her to get adjusted to her new lifestyle. And since she started eating 3 full meals every day, she's gotten so much healthier and stronger, and her weight is finally up to where it should be for her age. As she gets older, she might remember the terrible way her mother used to treat her, but I hope that she'll be confident enough by then to just brush that off as bad memories from her childhood. But as her aunt, I know that I definitely won't allow anyone to treat her like that ever again.